Hello my friends! In this video we will take a look at video capabilities of Nikon D5500 and D5600, so I'll explain the settings and I will explain how to shoot video with these cameras to get the best possible results. First of all, you need to access the video mode. Unlike on every other camera on Nikon D5500 and D5600, you can access video mode by mode dial. Here you need to cycle through display layouts using info button until you find the video mode. In this mode, the quick menu tab accessible by I button offers different settings. Here you can change video quality, resolution and frame rate, mic levels, white balance, exposure compensation, picture profile, white noise and focus area. In video quality, I only recommend shooting in 1080p in high quality. You can choose between 24, 25, 30, 50 and 60 frames per second depending on whether your camera is set to APS-C or PAL video mode. You can set that in setup menu. Mic levels are self-explanatory. You need to try it out to figure out what works the best with your mic. White balance can be set manually, although Nikon cameras usually set the white balance correctly. And wind noise reduction, I honestly haven't tested it, so I don't know how well it works, and we will get to the other settings later on. Now here's where the things get tricky. If you now put the camera to manual mode on the mode dial and you set your shutter speed, aperture and ISO, the camera will actually ignore your settings and it will shoot with automatic settings. If you want to use manual controls in video, you need to go to shooting menu, and in the last item, which is movie settings, you need to turn manual movie settings on. The camera icon with M letter will appear in top left corner of the screen, and the camera will now also show you exposure preview, so when you change your shutter speed or ISO, the picture on the screen will get brighter or darker. For some strange reason, you cannot change aperture while manual movie settings are on. If you want to do that, you need to exit live view, set the aperture and enter the live view again. Also, auto ISO does not work when manual movie settings are on. You can also shoot in aperture priority and shutter speed priority when manual movie settings are on, and the main dial is set to A or S. Fortunately, this camera has really good metering, so unless you shoot in some difficult conditions, the camera will set the exposure correctly most of the time. And for casual non-professional shooting, I actually encourage users to use auto settings. Probably the biggest limitation of D5500 and D5600 in video is that there is continuous or full-time autofocus, but it is unusable. It is slow, inaccurate, it hunts even when nothing in frame changes, and it also has to go back and forth a lot to focus correctly. I recommend two ways of focusing. The first and the obvious one is manual focusing. For manual focusing, you need to have a lens with focusing ring that is suitable for focusing. For example, Sigma 18 to 35mm f1.8 or 17 to 50mm f2.8 are good lenses for manual focusing, but also Nikon 18 to 105mm f3.5 to 5.6 is in my opinion suitable for manual focusing because it has mechanical focusing and smooth focusing ring. D5500 or D5600 don't have focus peaking, but there is focus magnification, easily accessible by a magnification button next to the bin button. Unfortunately, once you press the record button, magnification disappears. The second option is to use autofocus single. That means that you are basically controlling when the camera is autofocusing by half pressing the shutter button or AEL/AFL button if you use back button focusing, or when you tap on the screen, which is especially useful. The camera will only autofocus when you want it to do so. It means that it will not start refocusing without reason, although while autofocusing it will still go back and forth a lot, so it won't be acceptable for serious work and you will probably have to edit those parts out. Regarding the picture profiles, I really like SD or standard setting. Nikon colors are in my opinion really nice, so picture straight out of camera is very nice in both video and JPEG photos. Natural style is meant to be more neutral and it leaves you some space for color grading. Flat or FL picture profile provides minimum of contrast and saturation in order to capture as much dynamic range as possible. In my opinion, it is actually good. It gives you a lot of flexibility in post. Of course, I only recommend using this if you intend to color grade your footage in post. I've also made color grading tutorial for Sony A6500, so you can take a look at that if you're interested. Regarding the image quality, I've compared it to Sony A6500 and Panasonic G85 1080p video. The differences are really minor. For 1080p, the video quality is good, the sharpness is okay, it is pretty conservative with in-camera sharpening in standard mode, so I recommend using a bit of sharpening in post. It has some minor problems with moire, but the level of moire is acceptable in my opinion. Overall, the 1080p video image quality is quite good. So to sum up, in my opinion, Nikon D5500 and D5600 are great stills cameras, but for video, user experience and controls are not very good. There's a lot of limitations and continuous autofocus is unusable. So generally, if you intend to shoot a lot of video, I would recommend something else. But having said that, if you are like old school DSLR video guy and you know what you're doing and you use manual exposure controls and manual focusing, you can actually get good results with this camera if you don't want to shoot 4K, and if you are not, you can still use it as your B or C camera or for slow motion since it does 60p, which is what I sometimes do. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope that you liked this video and that you found it to be useful. Stay tuned for more videos and maybe consider subscribing if you don't want to miss my future content. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you would like to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.